All right. Well, that is started, so might as well start it, because if I don't start it, I'm never going to actually do it anyway. This is the first episode to the Snarf Consortium podcast, or SCP. I've wanted to start this project for a while, but never really got around to doing it, and nothing's going to be perfect, so might as well just start, because that's the only way we'll be able to get along. I am the host, Snarf. I also go by Peter in real life. And I'm just going to enjoy a beverage as I talk about my past week in video games and what I've been doing. So right now, it is Christmas Day. It is December 25th, 2025, as I hit record on my OBS. And there was a sale. There was a sale. Let's just start with that, I guess, and see where that leads us. There's a sale on the PlayStation Store where I dropped a few dollars to pick up some items that I've been wanting to add to my collection of games for a while. I picked up 6 games. A couple are pretty small games in general, and a few are a little larger titles. The first game that I picked up is a game called King of the Seas. It's kind of like a not quite isometric, kind of bird's eye view shipping kind of pirate game. At least that's what I've put about 20 minutes into it. I've dabbled in all these games. Right now, it feels like a very simplified version of the already simplified ship combat that I remember from playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. The overall characters that I'm seeing are quite childish. That's not necessarily a terrible thing, but I think it does detract from what I was hoping to get from this game. I'm in the very beginning. It's very slow to start. The interfaces that I'm seeing on menus feel like that kind of 2011, 2013 era of console games where all of your menus are on a radial wheel that you cycle through. But the thing is that none of them need to be on a radial menu, because the only time that you're using those menus is when you're docked at port, where it would be better just have them in list form, I feel. But again, I've only spent about 20 minutes. The game feels pretty good in terms of controlling the ship. You raise and lower your sails. You have about 3 degrees of that. You have different ships that I've seen so far that you can pilot or command. You have left and right on your ship's guns. There's no aiming like there was, or that I remember from Assassin's Creed. But you're just kind of eyeballing where the left side or the right side, port or starboard, are face on your ship. Again, the characters are pretty simplified. For some reason, the way that the character portraits are makes me think of One Piece. And it's not because of the art style, but more like the kind of tone that they're doing. And I'm not sure if that's just because of how nautical it is or not, but I was getting some strong One Piece vibes from it. Yeah, so I think it's called King of the Seas. It was like $7 on sale, so I was happy with the purchase. The next game that I picked up was WanderStop. This is a Annapurna joint. I got through about half the tutorial before wanting to drop it. That's great recommendations right there, isn't it? No, it's actually a very charming game. I just wasn't in the mood to play that. I was falling asleep. It's a very chill game, and it definitely feels like that game was meant to be chill. I have no idea what to do with my hands. Absolutely chill game. It's interesting. It seems very relaxed. You're just running a tea shop. The story was not what I was expecting from the game. I was expecting some twist. I think for some reason I have in my head that this is the game by the same guy that did the Stanley Parable. Let me look that up real quick. Made by Ivy Road, new team co-founded by acclaimed game designer Davey Weirden, creator of the Stanley Parable and The Beginner's Guide. Okay. And Carla Zimonja, and published by Annapurna Games. Okay, so it is by the same guy that did the Stanley Parable. I'm not getting that kind of writing style from WanderStop as I was getting from the Stanley Parable. I think the intro of this game lags increasingly. I think the beginning portions of this game really draw it down in terms of what you want to be doing in it. I wish that they would push forward a little bit harder into getting you into the game before, or at least faster, because it was putting me to sleep. The game is, I can see the loop already. You are tending to a tea shop in the middle of this enchanted forest. It feels like you're going to grow plants. You're going to water plants. Those plants are going to turn into seeds. Those seeds you'll be able to use to build other types of plants, which will produce fruits, which you'll then be able to produce into and brew into various teas using a fairly looking elaborate but albeit pretty simplified way to brew the tea. It is interesting. I like the art style behind WanderStop quite a bit. I think that is what drew me to it the most. I'm kind of just not, I'm not super interested right now in where the story wants to take us, though. That might just be me. That might just be, I just don't really care for this kind of story. You're playing a character voiced by Laura Bailey sometimes, but not always. It definitely feels that their budget in voice acting, they knew they couldn't voice act everyone, so they instead grabbed a big name to voice their primary character and just had a very sparse script for them to read, which is fine. But I almost kind of wish that instead of Laura Bailey being the voice of the character at the very beginning and then pushing us into subtitles only mode of silent characters, I kind of wish that they just didn't give the role to Laura Bailey. Got someone either got someone smaller and did a full voice work, or just left voice acting out of the game at all. But coming from the guy that did Stanley Parable, maybe you can't leave voice acting off the table. I mean, that game made itself from the incredible voice work as the narrator talked you through what you were doing. And I'm not getting that with this game. Maybe it will flesh out more. Again, I spent like maybe half an hour with this game before I just was like, I need to do something more invigorating. But it was interesting. It was pretty interesting, and I can see a good loop of a game where you just want to chill out. I don't think I'm going to be making any videos of the opening of the game. Maybe if I get like halfway through, I might record some footage and put it up. But that was WanderStop. The third game that I purchased was Jotun Slayer. It is a kind of how would I put it? It's a Vampire Survivors roguelite bullet heaven. I don't know if that's a really good way to describe the game or not. But as a very brief intro into Vampire Survivors, I love Vampire Survivors. I think Vampire Survivors is knocked it out with the first debut, or relatively of the first debut, if not the first debut of the bullet heaven kind of genre. I just want to touch everything, apparently, when I'm talking on a microphone. There was the bullet heaven genre that was made popular, if not invented, by the Vampire Survivors guy. And then there have been a lot of iterations since. There have been some really good ones and some not so great ones. This one, I think, is landing on the better side of that scale. I think I've done 2 rounds of it as 2 different characters. You have a pretty good range of characters. It's all centered around like Norse mythology. So as you level up in the areas, you're getting boons for either your class that you're playing as, which is your character, or kind of in like a Hades style, you're picking boons from specific gods, which is pretty fun. It is a lot more directed and linear compared to a game like Vampire Survivors. Whereas Vampire Survivors, it's just, hey, you're in this map. There's going to be increasing amount of enemies that come at you. All of your attacks are on auto. All you have to do is move around and survive for 30 minutes until you're either overwhelmed by the enemies or death comes and you win the round by dying to death. Or if you're absolutely crazy, live forever and kill death himself. I think I've seen people kill death. I think I've also remember seeing someone like have 2 deaths come into the screen. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. That video was weird. I never got to that point with Vampire Survivors. I think I fell off about 2 months before they released their first DLC for Vampire Survivors, and that's when I really just fell off. But before, I was collecting every single trophy on Steam that I could with that game, and I actually held 100% in that game for a while. Whenever there was a new title update that would add a new achievement, I would just grind out that game for a couple hours and get that new achievement. It was a good grind for a few months there. It was real fun. Vampire Survivors is still really good, and I think it still does things better than what I'm seeing in Jotun Slayer. Jotun Slayer is definitely just another one of those games. I like the aesthetic of it, being the Vikings and the barbarians and everything like that, the kind of Norse-ish mythology of it compared to just generic, we're not quite vampires. But I think the dopamine mine, the overwhelming, just like, let's just throw you into the middle, feel like you're in the middle of a Las Vegas casino in middle of the day where it's just popping. That is Vampire Survivors. This is much more subdued and laid back. I do like that it gives you more directed routes of what you're doing in the game, though, compared to Vampire Survivors. This one, the very first easy level, you have 10 minutes, and it's like, hey, here's an objective. You're going to go into this part of the map and do this thing, and then it's going. Once you're done with that, you can you'll wait until you get a new objective, and then you'll go do that objective. And after you've done all your objectives, you get to summon the Jotun, and then you slay the Jotun as the name of the game presents itself, and that's how you win. The game isn't terribly difficult, but I've also only done 2 runs, one on the easy difficulty as a berserker, and then I think it's like a witch, but it's not like a soothsayer. Maybe it's like a seer. It's a witch lady though, and I did her run on the normal difficulty, and that increased the timer from 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And I got to see quite a bit more interesting things. I think the challenges and requests that they ask you to do are actually really good in this game. And I'm looking forward to putting my time into it. So maybe after I unlock quite a bit more characters, I think I counted at least 8 or 9 characters that you can play in that game. That's looking interesting to me. There's like a guy with a bow. There's a dwarf, berserker that looks like he's ripped straight out of Warhammer Fantasy. So I'm looking forward to that. That's Yoan Slayer. This would be the 4th game that I bought. I finally picked up a copy of Space Marine 2. They had 2 versions for sale. I think this was the most expensive game that I purchased on this sale, it being about $30. I had previously tried Space Marine 2 via the PlayStation Plus game trial, so I had about 2 hours in it. I think I streamed that with Xmas a while ago, and I can say that after you buy a game and then you uninstall it completely, and then from a game trial, and then come back in after buying the same game, they just throw you right back into it, and I was not prepared. Holy shit. That I don't know if it's the difficulty that I was set on. I don't remember what difficulty I was on, but I was getting my ass handed to me royally by the Tyranids in that game. I could not parry worth a damn. I could not dodge any of their attacks. I felt like I was being overwhelmed way too much. I was not having a good time. I think I got another 10, 15 minutes into that game before I was just like, I'm dying left and right here. I'm getting pushed down. I'm not having a great time. I just need to step back. I'm probably going to restart that entire campaign and just play through it normally. But yeah, that was a Space Marine 2. Everything that I've heard about Space Marine 2 is that there were 3 games that basically shipped with Space Marine 2. The single player campaign, the co-op campaign, or co-op kind of game mode campaign, and then the multiplayer. And if you love all 3, it is well worth the $70. If you like 2 out of the 3, maybe pick it up on a like 20% sale when it's like $60 or $50. And if you only want one game, wait for a good sale. So I was waiting for a good sale because I don't really see myself. This chair keeps fucking going down on me. Strike that from the recording. I don't see myself really getting into the multiplayer, especially 2 years? It had 2 seasons. I knew that. It had a season pass bundle that was more than the base game. That was fun to see. But I did look through because I could have purchased for like an extra like $20 the Ultimate Edition of Space Marine 2, where they gave me both of this season passes. And looking through all those season passes, there wasn't any extra content. It was just, you can dress up as the Salamanders, you can dress up as the White Scars, or blah shit, blah, 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 blah shit of this. I like Warhammer. I like that. I like the fantasy. I like the 40K version. And I like some of them. I don't have a specific chapter of Space Marine that I like. I don't think I even have a specific faction in Warhammer 40K that I would look, oh, those are my boys. Of course, Necrons are kind of up there for me. I was not interested in just paying extra money to play dress up as a different dude, though. So I'm happy with just owning the base edition and getting my money's worth out of the campaign. And if from everything I've heard, the campaign is worth a good $20 to $30. So hopefully that does stand up on its own. Let me think. We did WanderStop. I did the Ship Age of Seas or whatever that game was. Yoan Slayer, Space Marine. There were 6 games, wasn't there? The last game that I can think of is I bought Flintlock, Siege of Dawn. And boy, this is a game. I think would be interesting to do a retrospective on Focus Entertainment's games and how they may have bled over into other games. Is Flintlock Siege of Dawn? Hold on. Flintlock. Is it made by Focus? Developer, publisher. No, this is made by A44 and published by Kepler Interactive. It feels like a Focus game. It feels like you're playing Banishers of New Eden. It feels like I'm playing Space Marine 2. All of those games feel like they're largely the same. And for some reason, I was like, as I was playing through this game, I was also getting really strong vibes of Immortals of Avium. I really liked my time with Immortals of Avium, and the more I played of Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn, the more I wanted to go back and play other games. Like I feel it's kind of unfair because there's nothing that this game is doing wrong. It's got a decent combat system. It's got a all right parry window, a follow-up riposte attack. You have a good feeling dodge. The jump's a little floaty, but that's fine. You can work with a floaty dodge. It's interesting because you have a flintlock pistol, as the name suggests, that is on your back, and you can use that kind of a la Bloodborne style to interrupt enemies' attacks. So it does the thing where it's like if they're attacking you, you can parry, but if it's an attack that you will not be able to parry or block, it will flash red. That will tell you, like, oh, I should use my pistol on that guy because that will break him out of that attack, and then I can go up and punish him for it. It's a good loop. It's a great combat loop. There's a reason a lot of games use that loop. But I feel like I've seen not quite a copy paste, but the same set of instructions followed for half a dozen games. And they all kind of just blend and feel the same. Banishers of New Eden. I want to play through that game and throw it up on the channel. It strikes me as really cool. I like the kind of, hey, we're colonial times. You're a Scotsman with a black wife, and you're exercising dark spirits in freaking New Hampshire or something. It's cool. It's really fun. It's an interesting concept. And Immortals of Avium, you're in a weird world that is like, it's like on the same level of technology as the show Arcane a little bit. And it's really, I like that kind of level of technology where you're still blending old world way of doing things with brand new-ish kind of technology that still feels really, really rustic and cumbersome to use. The use of muskets and flintlock pistols, as this game uses, you have a hatchet on your back that you use your melee weapon as your primary way to do things. But your gun feels appropriately powerful, but the way that you are limited from just abusing your gun is you have a limited number of black powder charges that you can use, and the way you get those charges back isn't, oh, I have to step in a corner, pause myself, and not get hit for like 20 seconds as my character reloads their pistol. No, it's go in, smack an enemy, 4 successful smacks with your melee weapon get you another charge back. It's a good combat loop. It's really it feels really competent so far in the 30 minutes I played for the intro. I really enjoy it, but it makes me want to go back to the other games that I've experienced before and play more of them before going into this game. It's a weird way, it's a weird situation to put itself in, is what I will say. And I just remembered the last game that I did. I bought the game. All right. Anyway, Flintlock, Siege of Dawn. I think I bought that for like $10, $8. It was cheap. And I always see this game going on big sales, which made me really question, like, what kind of quality am I stepping into? And the answer is there's nothing wrong with this game. It's got full voice acting. It has some pretty decent voice acting. The animations are kind of on par with what I've seen from like Claire Obscure. If anything, I would say is it feels like is this game rated M? What is this game rated as? Hold on. Okay, Flintlock Siege of Dawn is rated M for mature. It feels like one of those weird games that's rated M for mature, but it was trying to be a T game. There's very little blood. There's some... I haven't seen gore. All right, the very end of the tutorial that I saw, you are fighting this weird double-faced sphinx thing, which I think was designed in a really cool way. It's like a griffin sphinx thing that hops down after you blow up a gate, or you're prepping to blow up a gate. And it's got 2 stone masks that are like fused together, but the eyes are you have like the right eye, the middle eye, and then the left eye. And the middle eye is shared between the 2 masks. And I think that was a more inspired take on this kind of enemy design. I really like that, and it was overpowering. And in the cutscene, it was like, holy shit! It's just laying waste to all these people. And then it picks up one guy, and it's got these huge talons, and like it is going to kill this man. And it slams him on the ground, and there's no blood. There's like no impact at all. And it's just like it's falling itself short. And then it's like, oh, this guy sacrifices himself by blowing up the gate on the satchel charges and getting rid of this major beast. And then that blows our main character away into the water. And then we get rescued by the Atreus kind of dude that's going to follow us around. You know, like all of these games have. Like there is a formula out there of like, this is like, you want to make a game with a story that's just gonna be released and no one's really gonna give a shit about it. Follow these steps. And Focus got really good at making those kind of games. And I guess A44 is also in Kepler Interactive is also looking to do that same thing. I'm interested in it. I don't know why, at least from the intro, why this game is currently sitting at a 34%, 44%. What was this game rated? IGN, Steam both give it about a 7 out of 10, which feels appropriate. It's not an amazing game, but I would say like a 3-star system, this game's about a 2. This game feels like it's doing nothing wrong so far. Maybe after I play more of it, 46% like this video game on Google. That just seems crazy to me of how low it is. It feels like it should be at least 60%. But I guess that's still like right in the middle of like, it's a 2. It's a 2-star out of 3. So it's not offensive. But it does make me interested. I think because of the low rating and the amount of times I see this game get bundled with other games on the store that were like normal priced, and they're like, hey, on like the PlayStation Store, it's like, hey, you want to buy that game? We see you want to buy that game. Would you be interested in also buying a combo game for $1 extra if we threw in Flintlock Siege of Dawn? It's like, why do that? Why do that? The other game's not on sale, but you have a bundle with Flintlock Siege of Dawn to be basically throwing it in for free. It's like, hey. It's like, is it the Family Guy meme of Peter Griffin going up to the store and be like, I want to rent this movie. Oh, yes. Would you also be interested in renting this movie? No. It's free? No. And it's just like, what is wrong with this game? I'm now morbidly interested to see my way through Flintlock Siege of Dawn to see what's wrong with it and why people don't like it. It just seems inoffensive. I think that is the worst thing that I'm seeing from it, is it feels inoffensive at what it wants and is trying to do. The sixth game. The sixth game that I bought from the sale is it's called Caravan the Sandwitch. Is that right? Yeah, Caravan Sandwich. This is all right, developer is Plain Toast, and it feels like it's their only game, and it is absolutely charming. It is charming my pants off. It is delightful. It feels absolutely delightful. I am loving the style of this game, and I'm really looking forward to what we're going to see from it. You're playing as a girl that gets a distress signal from your sister who went missing 6 years ago. You're on a spaceship, so it's that kind of thing. And it's like, oh, my sister's out on this planet below us, so of course I'm going to go search after my sister because I know she can't be alive. It's been 6 years since she's gone missing. Everyone's just presumed she's either run off and just been like, I don't want to be found, fuck everyone for some reason, or she's dead. Either way, we're going to go figure out what is going on. And it's really interesting because we go down to the planet and the planet is just run down, but it has like the remnants of a very sophisticated culture with just massive amounts of technology at their disposal that just for some reason fell into collapse and ruin. And as you're going around, you're helping people that are living in this world. And they're not like bitter. They're just like, this is normal. This is normal life. This is what we have always known for our lives. We're not mad that this thing happened. We don't even know. I don't even know what exactly happened. But it doesn't feel like, oh, and you're going to solve a great big mystery. Maybe it's going to turn into that. But right now, it just feels like I'm going to go around this island and I'm going to help people out, and I'm going to drive this really cool looking van thing around the island, but I can hop out at any time and have a fun time just jumping around and adventuring and platforming. It's really fun. It's really good. It's charming as hell. Everything is like their social media. So one of the main things that I'm doing in the game right now is I'm in the very, very openings of this game. The main things that I am doing is that all the area on the island that I'm on is jammed. Like you open up your map and it's like, you can't see anything. You gotta go climb this watchtower if it was an Ubisoft game to clear this map and show all the fucking bullshit that you gotta do now. So you find these jammers, and the townspeople are like, oh shit, because of these jammers, these signal jammers, we can't use our computers. We can't talk with anyone, which means unless we are talking with someone and telling them what we want, we're cut off from everything. But they're surviving. It's kind of like a weird homesteading community. There's also weird frogs as aliens. Everyone's just super chill with and hasn't said a thing about it. It's like, okay, I guess the frog people are friendly. These guys are like 10 feet tall. It's awesome. make frogs, people. It's really cool in your games. Naruto was way ahead of its time. Or maybe it's because of Naruto that I feel this way. Anyway, so the main thing is like, hey, go find these jammers, go break them, and then it restores. And it's called the Toast Network that you're restoring. It's kind of like a weird social media message board thing that everyone's talking with and using. But it's really cool because if you're in an area that's jammed and you pull up your... all right, so I went into a new area. This is going to feel super erratic, and I can't blame anyone for me. Like, I'm not going to watch this bullshit that this guy puts up. But going into this area where the signal is still being jammed by this jammer from the Covenant or Conglomerate. I forget what they are called. You open up your like little social media network, and all of the text messages that you received that I know what they say are just being like gobbledygook, just encrypted. You can't read anything. The characters are constantly changing. Like, the fuck is that I'm looking at? Then you go over and you destroy the jammer and you restore network. It's a Strand game. It's what I'm trying to say. It's the Strand game that I wish Kojima kind of did. Yeah, I think if I'm allowed to, which I am, it's my show. If I'm allowed to go on a little rant about Death Stranding's universe, I kind of wish that there was a more emphasis, or it was harder to connect people to the network. And if you did, you got a huge amount of benefits. But I kind of wish that like you step over the, like, bring more danger or bring more punishing conditions if you step out of network in a Death Stranding game. It's like the moment your foot touches outside of that network, you're cut off from everything. You're out. You have your wits on your back. You can't use shit around you. I kind of wish it was like that. I think that would have made the entirety of Death Stranding kind of more interesting to me, because the amount of time that you are just like, I guess the nice thing about Death Stranding is when you're not in network, you're just gonna be like, I'm as connected to nature as I can be in this game. It just wasn't really compelling to me. But Caravan Sandwich, very charming game. All right. And if I was going by any metric of how I want to run this show, at the top of the show, I'll introduce myself. I kind of want. I'm gonna follow the podcast element that everyone that I listen to right now follows. It's top of the show. Say who you are. Introduce yourself. Go about your week. Talk about what you played or saw or stuff. And then you're going to go into the news. I didn't pull up any news stories. So the few news stories that I can think of is EA's board members agreed to sell the company to the Saudis for fuck ton monies. And that feels, I don't know. It feels like a bad deal for EA. If you're working at EA, maybe get out while you can. It feels like you probably want to be brushed up on those resumes, because in 5 years, EA may not be a thing. EA may just burn and die and be sold off for parts, or just be swallowed up by the Saudis' black hole and never do anything again. I don't know. And then on a terribly sad note, Vince Zampella died. He died in a car crash, and like one of the guys, I really liked how Jeff Gerstmann went about it on his show and talking about it of he was really one of those guys that felt like they knew what they were doing at the top. And every time that I played a game where I think, or at least I hope, that Vince was a lead on, from Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, Both of those I really liked. Titanfall, I never played the original Titanfall, but I did play Titanfall 2. Absolutely amazing. And listening to Jeff Gersman talk about Vince made me kind of realize, like, Vince is one of those guys that I think could be put in at the same table as like John Carmack, as like Cliff Bleszinski, for better or for worse. Vince shaped the way that modern video games look today and how they will look, and we will interact with them at least for the next little foreseeable future. It's kind of insane that because of how Modern Warfare worked, that shaped not just Call of Duty, but it shaped the other military shooters around it that weren't trying to be milsim. So they didn't necessarily shape Arma until Arma decided to become more arcadey, but it did put the boot on like Battlefield, being like, Battlefield, you're going to play like this. You're going to play more like this. Not exactly like this, because you still need your own spin, but you're going to see how much of an impact that Call of Duty made, and you're going to react to that. Medal of Honor especially reacted after the introduction of Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. And I would say that after Titanfall 2 dropped, the same kind of thing happened. We kind of got into a stale rut with how shooters were playing, and then Titanfall 2 dropped, and everyone was just like, this is something special. This is really amazing. Because like before that, it was like, we have Call of Duty, we've got Battlefield, and we have Overwatch. Those are your main shooters on the market. And then Titanfall 2 dropped, and you're like, holy shit, we can do some amazing fucking shit with first-person shooters, especially and still have them playable on console. It's not just elite PC master race. It's no. Bring the consoles along as well, because that's where you make a ton of money. But also, I think the important thing is that you make on consoles is you create a very large fan base around your projects that you can do on PC, but it's more fickle on PC because of the amount of options. Good and bad there. Yeah, I think Vince Zampella could definitely take a spot at the table of be like, these are the grandfathers and these are the influencers, is a weird thing to say, but it's like, these are the people that have shaped how games look and how they interact and how you interact with them. And I think it's a real shame, and it's a big hit to the industry and to people around that Vince has passed away. So may you rest in peace, and may your family find comfort. And on that really depressing note, that's the end of whatever the fuck I'm going to be doing with this Snarf Consortium podcast. I don't have any emails, obviously. If you would like to, I should probably set up an email before I put this out. Email below. Email attached in the description to doobly-doo, whatever. If you're listening on this on MP3, go ahead and look at those show notes, I guess. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and look in the doobly-doo, or just follow the email that I hopefully have remembered to put on the screen right now. And let me know what you want me to talk. I'll answer your questions and read your emails if they're worth it. So I got to make that. That has been the Snarf Consortium podcast, episode 0. I'll put this as an episode 0. I'll put this as a episode 0. Hopefully we have a longer run than what I did with AC Cash, or Anybody Can Change a Showerhead podcast. I think I got to 4 episodes, maybe 6 episodes with that before I stopped. I was moving apartments and in the middle of one of those, and I fell out. I couldn't record one week, and I never got back on it. So hopefully the SCP podcast will have a longer reign. Thank you guys for watching, and maybe I'll be back next week. Have a great one.